Good morning, welcome to Phil's Camping Reviews. My name is Phil. Today we're going to talk about diesel heaters, in particular this one here. Now you may remember a video that I filmed recently where I've spoken about this particular diesel heater here. It's a HLN Aerolyn 4K 12 volt. So 4K, so what does that mean? It's a 3.5 kilowatt unit. This company was kind enough to contact me and ask me if I wanted to check out their diesel heater. So I know I have mentioned this before about the company, but let's go into a few details, a little bit more technical detail on this. Now, there's a particular component here where I've had quite a few interest, not just this cool looking muffler with its silencer built in, including a silencer of some sort, or an air filter. I think it's more like an air filter built into the air intake. But people have asked me about the screen. So we're going to do a separate, more in-depth video on the screen eventually. But the screen has got some cool technology in it, whereas you can actually control your unit via Wi-Fi through your phone. Now the company sent me some interesting info on this recently. A Wi-Fi controller should be pretty fun to play with. On some of the controller designs we involved a company also designs for companies like Tesla and BYD. Check it out, Phil. So here I am, guys. I'm going to check it out. So I wanted to mention that because I know there's a few of you out there who are pretty keen to find out about this screen, and this got some really cool features in here on this screen that I cannot wait, guys, I cannot wait to try out. And one of those features is the fact that when you set it on temperature mode, okay, so similar to an aircon, you set it at temperature, it reaches say 24 degrees and maintains at 24 degrees. Now, my diesel heater in my camper right now, it's kind of got a similar feature to that, but when it reaches the desired temperature, the temperature that you set, it doesn't switch off. Although in saying that, what doesn't switch off is just the fan. It doesn't blow any heat, it just blows the air in. But this one here switches everything off, which will help conserve power. Not only that, talking about fans, the fan in this unit is a brushless, say something like minimum 4,000 plus hours of life with a brushless fan. So a brushless fan is more efficient, better bearings in it, and it's designed to work hard and last a long time. Whereas a brushed fan, it will not last as long. So this is going to give you some good longevity. Now, we are going to put this together today, and we are going to try this thing out. I've got a sound meter, my camper trailer set up out the front here. I'm going to record what sound comes out of that one, And then I'm going to record what sound comes out of this and see what sort of a difference this muffler makes. Now, these HLN Aerolyn units are now available in Australia, guys. So go to their website. I'm going to have all the details down below in the description. Go to their website. Now there is also a code you can put in. So all you do is just put in that discount code and you'll get quite a nice discount there. So without further ado, let's start putting this together. HLN Aerolyn have already produced a simple video on how to install this. So I'm not going to go in great details on the installation. If you do need help, let me know, but I'm going to have a link down below of what their video to show how to put this together. Now also, I suggested to the guys for the Australian market, because we are a lot of DIYers here, okay? We like to do it yourself because quite frankly, it's a lot cheaper. It's quite expensive to find someone skilled enough to mount these properly. So I like to do it myself and make sure it's mounted properly. That way it's just ease of mind, guys, ease of mind. Because we're talking, you know, these are run by diesel, guys, so, you know, there's potential carbon monoxide here. So you want to make sure it's sealed properly. So why not install it yourself? Now, any caravan centres, they'll be more than experienced enough to install these at a price though. But honestly, they are so simple. So go check out that video to see how simple these are installed. If there's any questions, ask below. I'm sure some of the guys from the company themselves will jump on and answer any questions. First thing, basically, pretty simple. You got your diesel heater here, you got your air intake, you get your air output. They come with a plate. That makes it easy for you. Virtually, drill a hole big enough so it covers this section. Make sure it's not bigger. This then bolts onto the bottom of your diesel heater. You then mount your air intake, your exhaust out, place it in place, bang bang, screw onto your flooring, whatever you're mounting this onto. It's as simple as that. So that's what I'm going to do right now. And then we're going to run through the wire looming. I'm going to show you the wiring that they supply with these units. Literally 10 minutes later, most of the time was walking to my 4-wheel drive to gather 10mm spanner and a screwdriver. It's all you need to put this together. So you see we've got the mounting plate, we've got the exhaust, make sure you mount it the correct way, and we've got the air intake to help to make sure you mount these in the correct orientation. So it's the exhaust on the exhaust output. There's an arrow that points out and there's an arrow that points in. So that's the air intake, that's the exhaust. Basically, all you do then is drill a hole big enough to fit this section in only. And to do that, if you get a smallish hole saw that's big enough for one side and drill that, then go to the next one and drill that. You drill that through the floor, whatever you're installing this into, whether it's your caravan, your camper trailer, your whatever you're mounting this into. In overseas, it's actually your semi-trailers, etc., things like that. So, because you want to direct the exhaust in particular on the outside. Now make sure there's four screw bolts here. Make sure they're nice and firm, they're tight. So you've got a good airtight seal here, and make sure these are nice and sealed as well. Now I like to use an additional flange on these, which is not provided with the HLN. Some of the other brands provide an additional flange. So it's similar to like an air duct flange as such. Flat, it's got an edge around it, and then it's got the tube part. So the air flat edge, you fit it over this, over the top, and then it's got a protrusion metal. I like to use those because it protects your flooring, because you're going to have a hole cut through here, and it's going to be fairly close to the exhaust output. So you want something to protect where you've cut, okay, through your flooring, most likely the timber. You want to protect that from the heat from this muffler. Now, another suggestion is to get muffler wrap. You can get muffler wrap and also wrap it around this for additional safety. And that should also help with restricting the sound. So, now, I've got a little bit more information here. I want to talk about the company in particular, about these diesel heaters on their use, because as you're aware, as I mentioned recently, these are just newly introduced in Australia. So the guys at HLN want to target camping industry as such that we have here in Australia, because here in Australia predominantly these type of diesel heaters are used for your caravans, etc. Whereas overseas, not so. Predominantly these, depending which country, predominantly these are used as a parking heater. As I suggested before, if you haven't watched the video that I've done, the first video I've done when I introduced this, overseas, particularly in the UK, etc., they're known as a parking heater. Because in the UK, they get a lot colder weather. Same as Russia, etc. They're in the minus 40s, minus 30s, like Canada as well. So the truck drivers there, when they're driving along, and at night time, when they pull up, so, because they need a heater, otherwise they're just going to freeze. You're looking at minus 30, minus 40 temperature. Now it's all fine and good and dandy, you know, while you're driving along, you got the heater on, it's nice and warm. But then what happens when you pull up at your rest stop? You got to turn the motor off, otherwise it's going to cost you a fortune, and it's not going to be good for the truck engine to leave it running all the time, and just to have your heater on. So these are developed, called a parking heater, so that when they pull up at the truck stop, they'll turn these on. For that reason, how they're packaged, slightly different to what we generally see here. So here in Australia, you'll generally receive some type of a fuel container that's supplied with these units. Now, over there overseas, they get the fuel directly from the diesel tanks. So you are supplied with a fuel line pickup. Your fuel line just simply attaches over the end of this. You add your pump, you add your filter, your fuel line filter and your pump, obviously to that. And then that fuel line input attaches to this small line here with the grommet on the end of it. Get yourself one of these fuel tanks, because to be honest guys, I'm telling you now, this is going to be a lot more better quality than some of those cheaper fuel tanks that we are starting to see here in Australia that disintegrates in UV light in no time at all. Do a little hole there, have a grommet so it's nicely sealed, plonk that in, have it so the base is about an inch from the bottom. You can either, I don't know, you could cut this shorter, whatever you want, or just leave it sticking out the top a bit. Have it so it's an inch off the bottom, and then just attach your fuel line directly to that, have a fuel filter, and then off to your pump, which is all supplied you'll receive that with the kit. Now, that's what I've done with my unit. If you go back and have a look at the videos of some 6-7 months ago, where I installed and showed my diesel heater working, I've got some videos there on the fuel system, how it's set up. So I've got mine plumbed. Now this is a great idea for you folks out there, the caravans and also camper trailers. It's got your 20 litre jerry can holders. 20 litre jerry can in there, whack one of these in fact I went one step better. I got quick release connectors on mine and use that, because I'll tell you what, there's nothing worse when you're out camping and every day or every second day when you get a lot of these diesel heaters with these tiny little 3.5, 4 litre, or even some of them only 2 litre fuel containers, and you've got to refill it up every day. Because I don't know about you, but no matter how hard I try not to get the smell of diesel throughout my setup, on my fingers, etc., I just cannot get rid of it. Diesel smells. That's just it. Diesel smells as a fuel. And it's not something I want to smell when I'm camping. So having a 20 litre container, you don't ever have to deal with it. You can go away camping for weeks and never have to worry about refueling this tiny little fuel container and getting the smell of diesel all over you. When it comes time to refuel, all you got to do, pull up at a diesel browser with your camper trailer at the back, and after you've filled up your tank, the vehicle, just wander the hose over and fill up your jerry can. It's as simple as that. That's all you do, and that's what I do, and it makes it really easy. So that's my suggestion. So don't worry if it doesn't include a fuel tank. You receive everything that you need, and honestly, much better system like this. Even go and get yourself 5 litre or 10 litre container of this. As you see, perfect, pretty well perfect for the 5 litre, and I reckon it'd be perfect for the 10 litre as well. Whack that through there, little hole through the top, grommet, feed this through a grommet to seal it, pop your chair. Oops, I didn't say that, did I? You kids don't know what that means. So, let's go over some of the information this company has recently sent to me on their diesel heaters. Yes, they're made in China. So are a lot of the better name brands as well. So as you're aware, in China, you get your good stuff and you get the stuff that's not so good. It's got all the good equipment in there. It's got Japanese parts in it. It's got a brushless, so it's built to last. It's got a muffler here design, so it's very quiet. And I'm sure the biggest gripe a lot of people complain about is the noisy pump. So we're going to check that to see if it's got a very loud ticking sound. But I've got a fuel pump, diesel pump, on that camper trailer that hardly makes any noise. You do not hear it. You do not hear the ticking noise. So they are out there, and I've heard some at a camping place where they just sound like a racket. Sounds like a machine gun just rattling off. Tick, 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 tick. They are that loud. It's incredible. We have been mainly focused on the higher end truck construction vehicle manufacturers before. In fact, we had some collaboration with both Webasto, Abapacha, I think that's how you pronounce it, before. And they used to sponsor our people to visit them and go to the Oktoberfest each year. Later, Webasto acquired one of our suppliers to assemble the heaters for them. In Europe, they have been doing very well on the passenger cars, while we still focus on commercial vehicles, vans, etc. Like Yutong, now the #1 bus maker in the world, collaborated with us more than 30 years ago, selected us Olympic bus supplier and grew from a small local bus producer to what they are now. Now their plans is they're going to set up some warehouses in Australia, so when you order these, they are going to be delivered from Australia. So at the time as we're filming this now, I believe, correct me lads if you're watching this from HLN, I believe you have stock in Australian warehouses now ready to be dispatched. Remember, I've got a discount code, so check in the description for that discount code. We are going to use the web shop www.HLNIND, the minus sign, it'll be all the link down below, shop.com for Australian customers. All the prices and discounts shown there will apply to Australian customers as well as in US dollars. I believe they can pay with PayPal or credit card. Currency for conversion should be automatic. We have already added the option at the checkout country selection page. Once received the order, we are going to send out the heaters from the warehouse from our Australian customers. Our glow plugs are Kyocera from Japan, and all of them are brushless motors. So there you go guys, some of the information that's coming from this company. I'm quite excited about this. Let's have a look at the wiring harness. What I like about this, I'm seeing here, it's all made up. I don't even need to look at the instructions. I can tell this is the power. Obviously, there's the connections to go onto the battery. Your positive, your negative. It's got a fuse. Let's see what size fuse we got. Now I'm not normally a real big fan of these type of fuses, but this is only a 20 amp fuse. I like the MIDI fuses, but this is a lot better than what's most of them I see here in Australia. And it's also got a mounting point as well where you can mount this. So I'm quite happy to stick with this fuse. It's the first time I've thoroughly checked over this wiring harness. So I thought this would have plugged in here directly somewhere, but that's not the case. So it plugs in one of these. So let's have a look what we got here. Waterproof connections. That one goes in there. Look at that waterproof seal there. So if you need to wire this externally, all the connections are waterproof. Similar to the fuse itself. Let me double check. Yep, it's got waterproof connections as well. Well done on that. There's connection to the pump. We know that connects onto there. Okay, so we've got 3 separate leads here. One of these would be the power for the pump. I'm sure in the manual here, it's got all the information that we need. Here's the schematic. The schematic is right here. So all you got to do, honestly, I don't need to run this over with you. It looks pretty simple. It's just a matter of getting the wires in the right plugs. And they're all different size plugs. So that's the schematic. So you will get this book with you. So follow the schematic. It's got numbers showing which is which. Shows what goes where. Follow that and then you'll have the power. So I'm going to do that now. Connect the fuel line and we'll fire this up quickly and have a look, and we'll have a quick look at the LCD screen, but I'm going to do a separate video, more advanced video on that, just on the LCD screen, and another one later on showing how much quieter this muffler is. Actually, let's do something different. We might call this video at this. There's quite a fair bit of information there, so that each video doesn't get too long. Let me edit this, get this up and running. And then in the meantime, I'm going to work on the wiring this up. And then I'll do a video and showing you how the wiring is, how it's connected. If there's anything tricky there, looks pretty simple. Just got to work out which wires goes where. And there's a schematic here that shows exactly where each wire goes. And then after that, we'll do a fire up video for the first time, fire it up. and I'll show you how I've done the plumbing for the fuel line. So let me set all that up, because you don't need to watch me just do that, because otherwise this will be a long video. And then we'll come back to a few more videos on this, showing all the different parts, componentries, fuel consumption, comparing the fuel consumption rate against the one in my camper trailer that's readily available in Australia. And noise test. Let's do an honest review and see how much, if it's any quieter than the readily available one in Australia. And mind you, the one I've got here is not your general cheap of the range Chinese one. This is a fairly upmarket one that I've got in my camper trailer I purchased in Australia, which is actually around the same price of what this one is. I know for a fact this has got a brushless. I don't know if that does. I don't think it does. I know this is going to outlast it. This has got, I think, a much better LCD screen that you can connect to your phone. And not only that, when it reaches the temperature that you got to set it, the whole unit will shut down, saving wear, saving fuel costs, saving your power, your battery, because not everyone's got 530 of lithium tone behind them, you know, on their camping trips. So most of you's only got the 100. So you want to conserve power. We're going to do a test on that. We're going to compare it to see how much power this consumes in startup as that one there, and then average how much power it consumes as well. So they're all videos that's going to follow very soon. So right now we'll call it at that. Let me work on this, getting this up and running. The next video will show this fired up. Till next time, mate. Cheers.